Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to share with you ways that you can make an impressive impact at work as a leader. So since 2012, I've been helping emerging leaders all around the world with their communication skill, their executive presence, and their interactions at work. But when I think about what is the driving purpose behind improving in all of these areas, it is without a doubt to have more impact in the workplace. So that's why for this video I've collected and curated my best tips to help you have the most impressive impact as a leader in the workplace. Now, I've separated this video into 4 different stages: the individual level, the team level, the company level, and the industry level, because the focus area that you should have for each of these levels in order to have more impact in the workplace is different. At the individual contributor level, the focus is on you. It's on you as an employee, you as a professional in the company. It's about building up your expertise, your skill, and your reputation so you can perform your job to the best of your ability and so you can exceed the expectations of your boss. So my top 3 suggestions here are: go beyond what is required. You see, if you perform your job just to meet the expectations of your boss, they'll be satisfied with your performance, but you'll only be known as an adequate employee or as a mediocre employee. You won't really have any true or noticeable impact in the team or in the company. Whereas if you do more than what is expected, you'll be exceeding your boss's expectations. You'll become known as someone who is making an incredibly valuable contribution to the team and to the company, and you will give yourself an opportunity to have maximum impact. Now, going beyond what is required doesn't necessarily mean that you have to put in longer hours in the office, but it does mean that you have to be strategic about how you use your time. So you could offer to help out on additional projects in the workplace. You could ask what skills that would be useful for you to learn so you can upskill yourself, or you could help out your co-workers on projects that they might be struggling with. These are all ways in which you can go beyond what is required and have maximum impact in the workplace. The second way to have more impact as a leader is to build your leadership brand. This is often overlooked because most people don't know where to start when building their leadership brand, and they often neglect the importance of having a leadership brand or a personal brand. Therefore, they don't even bother to create one. But if you're somebody who wants to have maximum impact at work, you want people to know who you are, what your area of expertise is, and what you are contributing to the team and to the company as well. And by developing your leadership brand, this will help you achieve all of those things. So I encourage you to start thinking about what reputation you want as a professional. How do you want people to describe you? What contributions do you want noticed? What assets do you want to be known for? When all of these things are clear in your mind, it is much easier for you to find tasks that will help you to communicate all of these things and therefore communicate your leadership brand. And speaking of communication, this is definitely an area that can help you have more impact at the individual contributor level. The way you explain your ideas to others, the way you explain steps in a procedure can either be done in a boring or disorganized way, or it can be done in a structured, clear, and engaging way. The difference between the two comes down to your ability to communicate. It will take practice for you to improve on your communication. It's not something that comes naturally to most people. It will require you to make mistakes with your communication, to identify what those mistakes are, and then to make tweaks so you can improve on it the next time around. Now, there are a couple of books that will help you in this process. So Think Fast, Speak Smart by Solomon Assine. I've talked about this a couple of times in my other YouTube videos. And also Brief, Making a Bigger Impact by Saying Less by Joseph McCormack is another book. Both of these will help you to identify possible mistakes you could be making with your communication, to pinpoint those mistakes so that you can improve on them the next time around. Now, I will put affiliate links to both of these books to Amazon in the description below if you want to check them out. So we've talked about your impact at the individual contributor level. Let's move on to your impact at the team level. Now, this is really about your contribution to the team so that you can help the team achieve its goals. Now, in a small way, you're already doing this at the individual contributor level by meeting the goals that you have assigned to you as an individual contributor to the team. But as a leader, there are other ways that you can have more impact at the team level. The first way is to ask better questions. Now, this will help you to pull better ideas from people in your team so that you can find better solutions to problems so you as a leader can have more impact at the team level. Asking better questions is really about asking open-ended questions such as why or how. This gets people talking, and this stops them from giving you one word or really quick answers to your questions. For example, how do you see this helping the company? Why do you suggest this solution to the problem? These types of questions entice people to think on a deeper level about what they're saying and to elaborate a lot more for their answers. It's a strategy that successful leaders use all of the time. It is very, very effective, and it will definitely help you have more impact as a leader. You can also summarize what people say in meetings. This is a really effective strategy that many leaders use, and it definitely helps them to have more impact too. So in meetings, you might find that people don't always communicate in a very clear or a very articulate way. When they explain their ideas, they might be a little bit disjointed. They might be a little bit all over the place. This is often caused by nerves. It can be caused by lack of preparation as well. Whatever the reason, it leads to unclear communication, which then means it is difficult for everyone else in the room to understand what that person is saying. So for you as a leader, you want to avoid this by taking 1 to 2 minutes to simply summarize what that person has just said, to summarize their idea or to summarize their suggestion. This gives everybody else in the room a second chance to understand what that person has said. And it also gives the speaker a chance to correct you if you are wrong, if you have misunderstood what they want to say. It gives them a second chance to clarify what they actually intended to tell people. It's a very effective strategy to use. It makes you look good as a leader, and it helps you to have more impact for the team as well. Number 3 is to delegate to empower. So when you delegate to people, it not only helps them to learn a new skill or to perfect a skill that they've been working on so they can have more impact at the individual contributor level because they know how to do more. It also helps you have more impact as a leader because it frees up your time so that you can focus on high-level strategic decisions. This is a fantastic way to have much more impact on many different levels, but one thing I found is that a lot of emerging leaders don't want to delegate, or they don't delegate as often as they should. A big reason for this is they lack confidence in the competence of others. They often ask themselves, can they actually do the job well? The solution to this really comes down to your expertise in delegating, your ability to make a clear request that the other person understands, and the ability to monitor that person's progress without being too overbearing or without giving them too much independence. Now, this video up here will help you to understand how to delegate effectively as a leader, and when you learn how to do that, it will help you to have more impact as a leader too. We've looked at how to have more impact at the individual level and at the team level. Now we're going to look at how to have more impact at the company level. And this is something that you really need to start to think about when you're moving from the position of team leader to, say, department leader or to CEO or to another position in the C-suite. What you need to know here is what is important to the company, what are the goals, what is the direction, what is the vision for the company for the next 12 months to 5 years, and how can you contribute to helping the company achieve these goals or this direction or this vision. This is written about really well in a Forbes article called How to Maximize Your Impact as a CEO. I will put a link to that article in the description below for you. In this article, the author talks about identifying million-dollar tasks that will help you have the most significant impact on the company's long-term success. For example, high-level strategic decisions. These are decisions that are made at the C-suite level. They are broader decisions that affect the department or the company as a whole. They do sometimes flow down and impact individual employees, but the main focus for these decisions is at the corporate level, the big picture level. For example, a company might be deciding whether to introduce AI into their product offering. Now, some people might feel that this is really important and it will help them to stay competitive in the future. Other people might feel that it's a big investment, it's a bit of a gimmick, and people might get tired of it pretty soon. You no doubt have your own ideas about AI, whether companies should or shouldn't implement it in their product offering. I simply used it as an example of a high-level strategic decision that some companies might be asking themselves right now. If you have any other ideas about high-level strategic decisions that companies can take, maybe even real life examples that companies have been through, then share them in the comments below. Number 2 is building key partnerships and relationships. This could be partnerships with other leaders inside your company, or it could be partnerships with leaders outside of your company, all with the purpose of helping your company achieve its vision. Let's say your company is looking at expanding internationally. You could develop relationships with key partners in countries that you would like to explore. This can help you understand the pros and cons of operating in those countries, and it can also help you understand possible entry strategies that could work for your company. So whether it's getting involved in high-level strategic decisions, or whether it's developing key relationships or key partnerships with other leaders, both of these ideas can definitely help you to have more impact as a leader. Now, when you really want to propel your career and when you want to have the most impact, you absolutely need to think about how you can have more impact at the industry level. So every one of you watching this video belongs to a specific industry. It could be tech, it could be education, it could be health, it could be financial services, it could be something else. Write down in the comments what industry you belong to. Now, what you really need to think about here is how can you have more impact outside of your job, outside of your team, and outside of your company as well. How can you have more impact at the industry level? This is really the ultimate level of impact that you can have. And if you manage to achieve this, because not many people do manage to achieve this, but if you do manage to achieve industry level impact, it will absolutely propel your career in ways that you probably never imagined. So let's go through some examples of how you can have impact at the industry level. Number 1, speak at industry conferences. I know it probably makes a lot of you really nervous, the thought of speaking at industry conferences where there are a ton of people watching you, but hear me out here. So industry conferences, what we're talking about here are conferences where there are large groups of people who belong to that industry, people who are interested in the content and interested in the discussions that will happen at that conference. And it will probably attract a lot of people. I'm talking about 100 plus people in some cases. Now, when you get over the scariness of talking at such an event in front of so many people, the benefits of this are outstanding. You can share your expertise to a bunch of people at the same time. You can share your experience. You can share your insights that you have learned over years in your career. You can share your research as well if that's something that you've been involved in. This will help you to have massive impact at the industry level, and you might even be able to change the direction of that industry as well. Because what you have to say could spark new ideas. You could get people thinking differently about things, which is always the first step to progress and to change and to movement. Now, if speaking at industry conferences is just way too daunting for you, then another option is to begin a podcast. This is a really great way for you to share your expertise and your knowledge and your insights with many people. But when you're actually recording, unlike a conference, it is just you and the microphone, or maybe you and one other person. So it's a lot less daunting than an industry conference would be. Podcasts are easy and relatively cheap to begin. They give you access to people from all around the world who can learn from you in a way that's a lot more intimate and engaging than a large industry conference. For example, I used to like listening to a podcast from an Australian accounting firm who would share advice on various tax issues and updates. And in my opinion, by them having this podcast, it really helped to position them as an industry expert, helping them to have more impact as well. And from my own experience, I can definitely say that having my own podcast, The Leadership Pod, has helped me to have more impact with people all around the world. If you want to check the Leadership Pod out, I will put a link to that in the description below. The third way you can have more industry impact is to develop a presence on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way for you to make a name for yourself as an expert in your field. It's a great way for you to broaden your reach and connect with many people across your industry. It's also a great way for you to share ideas that can help you have more impact at the industry level too. By talking about issues that are affecting your industry or developments in the way of new rules or regulations, you can plant ideas in people's minds and even find solutions to problems. Becoming a LinkedIn top voice should be your ultimate aim here if you really want success and maximum reach on LinkedIn. If this is your goal, then I recommend you look at people who are currently a LinkedIn top voice in their field, see what posts they write about, what are the responses like, what is their interaction like with other people, and use this to craft your own voice on LinkedIn so that you can become a top voice yourself. Now, I want to thank those of you who have become members of this channel. I am so grateful for your support and for your belief in what I am creating here on YouTube. Now that you've learned about impact as a leader, you also need to learn about influence, which you can learn in this video here. So impact and influence, they go hand in hand, and learning both of them will help you to become a better and a much more successful leader. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next week in the next video.